Alright, so today I'm going to be going over this sound deadener. Noico is how I'm pronouncing it. And it's an 80 mil, and we got a 36 square foot pack. This brand reached out to me and wanted me to do a review. So I'm going to try to keep unbiased and give my fair opinion on it. So far, the packaging got pretty beat up. They don't ship it raw like this. It came in another box, but regardless, it did get a little beat up because it was slightly smaller than the box it came in. And you know how shipping is these days, so I don't think that's going to be a big deal. It's only sound deadener. But I do like what I see so far. As far as product, it comes with a little instruction manual. So this is what you get. So they decided to send me a few boxes here, and I will be using this stuff in some testing. It's a new SPL vehicle that we're building. So we're actually going to put this stuff to the test in real world SPL application. If you don't know about what an SPL vehicle is, it's a competition stereo setup. So you can use sound deadeners for making your car sound better and quieter while driving, or make your stereo sound better for eliminating rattles. And it also makes your stereo louder by keeping the sound within the vehicle, and that's kind of what my comparisons will mainly be, because that's what I mainly do, and I assume that's why they got a hold of me. But just know that there's other applications. I'll just be going over kind of my application, but they do give you step-by-step on installation recommendations. It's not really that big of a deal in my experience, but it is helpful for those who've never done this. It's a very simple process, so that's pretty cool that they give that to you. And then what did you get for 36 square feet is a box this thick, and looks like a bunch of sheets kind of interwoven together. And go ahead and try to unfold some of these. Feels pretty heavy. It's nothing out of the ordinary. Thickness is decent. The peel back comes off pretty good. It's cold out, so that's a good sign. Normally, on some brands, the backing won't even come off right. So far I'm liking that. So this is 3 sheets right here. Go ahead and unfold them. Give you an idea. That's the rough size. It's a pretty good size sheet there. So it looks like we get 9 in the box, totaling up to 36 square feet. Here's the front side of it. It's kind of unique, actually, to have these little diamonds in them. It's kind of a cool thing. And I believe what happens when you put a roller on this to roll it down, that these will smush out, and that's when you know you've rolled enough on it, supposedly. So that's kind of cool. It's interesting. So we'll be going over the installation of it too. So as far as thickness goes, they're saying it's 80 mil, which is equivalent to 2 millimeters. And I'm measuring it right now, and came up with 2 millimeters just on the dot. Maybe slightly less, but that's close enough. So far everything's checking out as far as their claims on this stuff. It's pretty dang flexible once you undo the backing. Sticky, so I want to see how it actually does on the metal. We'll have to get our vehicle together so we can test this stuff out, but I'm actually pretty impressed for the price and everything. We'll go over pricing online. I'll show you the website and let you check that out, but honestly, just prior to using it, I'm pretty impressed, actually. It's not bad stuff considering the price. And I've used a lot of different brands. I kind of have my go-to brand for car stereo stuff. But this is a pretty nice alternative so far. I do want to see how it does under higher temperatures, and I want to see how well it sticks and contours. I've used cheap brands like GT Matte. You'd find that on eBay a lot. That stuff was terrible as far as smell goes, and just making it stick. You had to heat it up to make it stick, which you shouldn't have to do. I mean, you lay them out in the sun a lot to soften up the butyl, but you shouldn't have to use a heat gun to actually put it on. So that's something to consider. And you definitely don't want to buy that stuff at Home Depot. This definitely is doing better than that. I'd say the aluminum is pretty thick on this stuff. It's a decent amount on it. But I like it so far. It seems to be kind of cool. These little dimples actually kind of make it a little more pliable. So that's kind of cool. See how it likes to fold on the lines with them. So as far as first initial look at it, I'm liking it. And that's for never seeing this stuff before. It's going to be really down to what it does in application. And once we start actually testing it out in our competition car. So, all right, then we're going to move on to the next part of this and give you a look at how it goes in and what I think of that. All right, so I wanted to do a quick little sound test on just a blank piece of metal here. Just to give you an idea, this stuff is an 1/8 inch, so it's kind of around the ballpark what you see on vehicles, maybe a little thicker. So this is what your car sounds like normally, because it's just raw metal, and metal has a pretty high resonance, which you can definitely hear if it's in contact with objects. So hear that long echo that follows it, that ring. You want to kind of shorten that time that it rings, and you also want to lower the frequency at which it rings so that it doesn't ring so much at the frequency that it's naturally going to ring at. So it's kind of why you dampen it. It changes the resonance of the piece and lowers the likelihood of it actually making noise. So we're going to stick a little bit on this thing and just see what it does. We're not going to cover the whole thing. We'll cover just a good patch down here, kind of where I was tapping it, just to see how much it would take to actually start bringing that noise back down to something a little better. So you could either use a razor knife on this stuff or cut out scissors if you got a pair you don't care about. And so I'm going to do that real quick. We'll stick it on and we'll see. Okay, so we put a little square on. This is probably like a 3 inch by 3 inch square, a little larger. And you can see these things, they get smushed down when you roll it. It's kind of an indication of if you rolled it on good enough and where you rolled it. So it kind of lets you know, hey, you don't need to hit this again, or hey, I still need rolled over here, you forgot me. So that's pretty cool indication. Sticks pretty dang good. I didn't do anything to this metal. You can still peel it up at the edges, but I mean, it's kind of hard to get off. So it's not smelly at all, so that's good. Anyway, so what does this metal sound like now? Now keep in mind, I only covered like not even a third of this thing. Listen. It's still a little noise, but you hear no more ringing. You're hearing this maybe. If I tighten this up. I'm holding it just the same as I was, just up at the tip. Sounds much deader, like more of a thud. There's no ring. There's even the metal sounds a lot different. It's just from changing the resonance of the whole piece. That's the thing with the Deadener, is that it's a misnomer so much that you need the Deadener to cover the whole thing to block the sound. It doesn't necessarily block sound from coming through. I mean, it does, but not as well as it actually just changes the resonance of the piece, because it changes the weight of the piece, which changes the way it sounds, and it'll start resonating at a lower frequency, much tighter, less ringing sort of thing. So that's kind of its main goal from my interpretation. So far, I'm actually really impressed. It sticks really good. I did no prep to this metal. Now you could still peel up the edges. I mean, I figure that's kind of true with most Deadeners. Doesn't stick quite as well as some of the stuff I've used. But then again, I didn't roll it on very much, nor did I prep this even close to the way that they recommended. But you can see it does come back off. And it is cold today. This stuff would probably stick better and a little bit warmer out. It still is a pain. So we'll do a final tally at the end once I've used this on a prep service. What I think it is overall for stickiness from what I've used. I'd say it's probably not as sticky, but now that I just took that off live, let's do a live tap with no more on it. See how much louder that is? It's crazy. So it does work. I'd say the biggest factor with the sticking is so that it doesn't come back off later when it gets hot out and stops working. It's funny, you actually need the stuff warm to put it on, and you need it not to get too warm so that it doesn't come off. So there's kind of a happy medium in there. But yeah, so that's a used piece. It's pretty, almost could be used again, kind of. It's interesting. I think it could stick better. I've seen other brands that are just so sticky you can't even touch them to anything, and they're already sticking, and this stuff you can kind of get it by things. So I'd say if you really need to ensure that you had a good stick, that you might prep better than I did. We'll do our final verdict once I actually do it in prep service. So anyway, let's move on to actually using it. That was just a quick little test to show you exactly its purpose on a simple piece of metal. So this is the completely stock roof with the headliner out. So you can hear a lot of terrible rattling from everything. You can see it's floppy. So we're gonna go ahead and do 2 layers of the Noico on it, and then we'll get an idea of what it sounds like, and then see if it gains on the meter from our old scores. So that's kind of gonna be a good comparison for you guys to see what it actually does on a car. All right, so we've gone ahead, put a few layers on the whole roof here. It's kind of what it looks like all installed. Just a little more up front. Let's listen. It's a lot stiffer too. Much better than before. I think we're doing pretty good. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10 on the peel back. Comes off pretty easily. I'm gonna do a 7 out of 10 on stickiness. I think it's a little bit lacking, but that's not a bad thing. Workability is 10 out of 10. Really easy to work with. Cosmetics, 7 out of 10. There's better looking Deadeners out there, I'd think. Smell is also 10 out of 10. Never had a smell at all. Thickness, 10 out of 10. It's exactly what they stated. Also take a look at the website here. I've been pronouncing this wrong the whole time. It's Noico, and you can see the pricing's pretty fair on this stuff. This is what I got, what you saw in the video. We can go look at their other products, and they offer a few different sizes. And I'd say the pricing's pretty dang good. It's a really good budget brand. Pretty impressive.